Hello everybody, this is Grant, your friendly neighborhood OpenShift team member. Earlier today I installed the Windows operating system, and while I was doing so I realized I had a server over in the corner that I hadn't been using. So I thought, what better way to use that server than to create a video and show you how to install the OpenShift Container Platform version 3.11 on Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So the machine that I have, I believe, is a dual Xeon machine. I think it has 32 cores and 64 threads, and it has 128 gig of memory. So I'm going to be doing a bare metal installation. Now, it has been an extremely long time since I have done a bare metal installation of Red Hat Enterprise Linux and OpenShift Container Platform. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to record those efforts so everyone can see how to do it themselves. So the first thing I want to do is download Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So I am just going to search for rel download on Google, and that's going to point me to access.redhat.com. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and then I'll select Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And then it's going to ask me to authenticate. Now, this is an important note if you're watching this video. In order to install Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7.5 and OpenShift Container Platform 3.11, you will need subscriptions for these products. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as my Red Hat account. And I'm not going to save the password there. This should authenticate me and then let me choose the Red Hat Enterprise Linux system image that I want. I want Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7.6, the binary DVD. You can also go down and select different versions as well. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. It's 4.2 gigs, so I'll click OK. And I do have gigabit internet, so it should go pretty quickly. Looks like it's got about 2.5 to 3 minutes left. So I'll go ahead and pause the video recording and catch back up when that's finished. Alright, it looks like we're about finished here. Just a few more seconds. Did take a little bit longer than I thought, maybe three or 4 minutes there. So once this is downloaded, this is an ISO image. So we need to actually write this to a USB drive, okay? The only way I know how to do that, or probably the easiest way to do that, is the Fedora Media Writer. So I'm just going to download that real quick. And if we go over to Get Fedora, we can download the Fedora Media Writer. So I'm going to save that. And this is going to download it. And maybe it's already done. It is. So we'll open up the Fedora Media Writer and get that installed. Okay, let's go ahead and run it. And what we can do here is select Custom Image at the bottom. So because I downloaded the Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7.6 ISO, I'm going to select the Custom Image. Then I'm going to browse to my Downloads folder, and we should see that I have RHEL Server 7.6 right here. And it's going to say it's ready to write. Now, in my hands, I have a USB thumb drive that I'm going to plug into my computer, and then we should be able to write it to that. Okay, I just plugged in the 16 gig thumb drive, and you can see Fedora Media Writer instantly recognizes it. So let's go ahead and write that to disk. Now, this should take just a little bit. And once this is done, I'm actually going to go into my server room and get a base install up and running. And once I have that base install up and running, I'll start recording again and show where I picked up. Alright everybody, I thought I would give you a little sneak peek at the server I put together here. It's a brand new case. It's this top rack mount here. Underneath is my other server, but I did just quickly hook up a USB keyboard mouse combo. I found an old VGA monitor. We can see that this box is running CentOS 7 right now. The back of the box, I didn't do a very good job with the back plate there, but as you can see, I don't have a network connector installed, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so I just opened a brand new network cable. This is a dual gigabit NIC, so I'm going to go ahead and just put the one in there, and I have a little gigabit switch down here. Now remember, this is a home lab setup, so you know, it's not going to be perfect, but we can see 1, 2, 3 there. We got 1, 2, 3 connections there. So I'm going to go ahead and plug the USB thumb drive, so Red Hat OpenShift container thumb drive, into the machine here, and then we'll go off and get it installed. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and press this reset button here, and we should see that the box is going to reboot. Now, I haven't booted this box in forever, so I don't even know how to get to a boot menu. I assume it's going to be delete F11, something like that. We'll figure it out. It was actually F6 on this board to get to a boot menu. I believe this is the NO store. I don't know if I need UEFI or not. I have no idea. Let's just go ahead and hit enter there and see if this boots or not. Alright, install Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7.6. And this should just be the standard install here. I'll probably fast forward or skip through most of this stuff. Right, the graphical install is started. My USB mouse keyboard combo seems to be working. Let's see here. We want to make sure our network is turned on. Alright, we have an IP address there. I don't have that other NIC plugged in there. Wow, I'm doing a poor job here. Alright, so we have network enabled. We'll go ahead and click on back here. Installation destination. Let's see what this has in it. Looks like I have a 240 gig SSD card and a 4 terabyte drive in here as well. Let's go ahead and install it onto this SSD. So let's go ahead and click on done. And I'm going to configure partitioning. I need to delete the CentOS partitions here. Delete that. Delete the swap. Delete. Okay. Let's add a standard partition. Let's add another 16 gig swap here. So let's see, 16 GIB, and we'll add that. Now let's add a 207 gig root partition. 207 GIB. Add that point. And let's click on done and accept those changes. And we should be all good here. Alright, let's go ahead and click on begin installation. And there we go. This is going to install Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7.6 on this box. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish it up here. I'm going to create a root password and add a user, and then we'll start recording again from my desktop once I SSH in. Alright, we're back at the Windows desktop. Now, I just installed this Windows operating system today, and I realized I didn't even have a proper command line utility installed. So I went ahead and I downloaded Commander. That's the one I like to use. So let's go ahead and run that. That'll launch it here. Let's see if we can't make this font a little bit bigger here. Now, the IP address of that RHEL 7.6 box was 192.168. .0.25. So let's just go ahead and SSH into that box. So SSH Shipley at 192.168.0.25. This is the first time I am connecting to this host, so I'm going to go ahead and answer yes there. I'll authenticate with my password, and here we go. A brand new box. You can see it's been a little bit since I've logged in, but let's go ahead and cat proc CPU info. We can see that we have 32 procs, so it's 32 threads and I guess 16 cores. So that's pretty sweet. Sorry if this is making you dizzy. Let me get to the bottom there. So let's just take a look at top. We can see we have 128 gigs of RAM here. So this is running on bare metal. So let's go ahead and sudo into su here. And I'm going to authenticate with my password. And let's go ahead and do a DNF update. Oops, this is Red Hat Enterprise Linux. This is not CentOS or Fedora. So let's go ahead and do a yum update. And it's going to tell me that this system is not registered with an entitlement server. You can use Subscription Manager to register. There are no enabled repos. Okay, so this is the point of the video where I assume that you know how to register your RHEL subscription. And I am going to go ahead and register this system and then update the system, and then I'll probably come back later tonight and finish this video off for you. Alright, see you later. Alright, I'm back after a wonderful dinner, so my belly is full and we're ready to get going here. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen and then just do Subscription Manager, and then I believe it is register, and it's going to ask me for my redhat.com username and password. So I'll go ahead and input that there and authenticate with my password. And we can see that my system has been registered, and it has a host name now. The next thing we want to do is actually add our subscription. So we're going to go ahead and auto attach and see if it'll figure out the correct ones to add automatically. So to do that, we're going to say subscription manager attach -- auto. And we'll see what happens with that. Alright, so now I have installed a product of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and our status is subscribed. So let's go ahead and do our yum update now. And that's going to go through and query the repositories for any fresh RPMs to make sure that my server has the latest and greatest version of all the packages. Looks like we have 83 megs to download and install. So we'll go ahead and do that. We're getting a new kernel here, and I'll accept a few of these certificate checks here. Okay, looks like our system has now been updated. Let's go ahead and clear the screen here, and I'm going to go ahead and shut down and restart this server so we can take advantage of the new kernel that I saw got installed. So I'm going to say shutdown -R now. So we'll give that a few minutes to come back up, and then we'll begin the OpenShift installation. Alright, let's go ahead and SSH back into the system. So to do that, I'm simply going to SSH root at and the IP address. Now I need to attach my OpenShift subscription to my account as well, or to this system. So to do that, I'm going to do Subscription Manager attach -- pool, and I'm going to paste in my pool ID here. And that's going to go off and get me the correct entitlements for this system to proceed with the installation. Okay, you can see I've successfully attached to the employee SKU, which is a special SKU for Red Hat employees, so we get access to the software. Go ahead and clear the screen. Okay, the next thing we want to do is to make sure that Git is installed. So I'm going to say yum install Git. It's going to go off and search the repositories for the Git revision control system package and allow me to install it if it's not already installed. And you can see that that's going to pull down about 59 megs worth of various packages, except some of the certificates here. And it's almost done installing, then it'll do the cleanup. Okay, so now I have Git installed locally. What I want to do is I have written a little bit of automation for this, and this just runs the Ansible playbook under the covers. But I'll Git clone this repo and then explain what's going on. So this is in github.com/gshipley/install-rel. And if we go into that directory, let's have a look at the shell script, install OpenShift.sh. Now, this is a interactive installer, and all it's going to do is prompt me for some information that's going to fill out the inventory file for Ansible Playbook. In order to run this, though, I need to make sure that my system is registered and it's attached to the correct pools so it has access to download all of the OpenShift packages. And so let's just run through this and see what it looks like. If I type in install OpenShift, it asks, is your system registered and attached to the correct pools? Let's say no. It's going to tell me I need to run these commands. We've already ran these commands except for this one right here. So let's go ahead and run that. And then once that disables these repos, the script will actually enable the correct repositories for installing OpenShift. Now, like I said, this automation is nothing special. It's just a shell script. You can take a look at it just to help me manage the inventory files, because I do install OpenShift quite a bit and I use different domain names all the time. So let's go ahead and run this install sh script. It says, is your system registered and attached to the correct pool? It is. And the domain I want to use. So I am actually going to use techdope.io, and this is the username that I want for my system. So I'm going to say gshipley, and I'm going to put a password of password, and I want to install the latest OpenShift version 3.11. That's my IP address. That's my API port. Now it's going to ask me for my Red Hat username and password. You can see the first thing it does is it's going to install the EPEL release. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video and let the installation continue on. And I'll mask out a few things, and I'll see you when it gets done. All right, looks like the install has finished. It did take just a touch longer than I was expecting, but now we do have OpenShift Container Platform 3.11 running on Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7.6, all on bare metal. So this should be a pretty speedy system. Again, it's I believe it had 16 cores and 32 threads with 128 gigs of RAM. So let's go ahead and try logging in here. Let's go to https://console.techdope.io:8443. And I am using a self-signed certificate. If you want to use a real certificate, check out some of my other videos where I show you how to do that. But let's go ahead and add this exception here. Now, if you remember when we ran the install, I set the username to G Shipley, and I set the password to password, so that's what I'm going to use to authenticate. And here we go, OpenShift Container Platform 311. Let's check this out here. 311.43. Awesome. And one of the new things with 311 is you can switch your view. So you can have an application console, a cluster console. Let me go ahead and accept that security certificate as well. And I guess I need to log in here since I need cluster admin access for that. And we can poke around, look at the namespaces, the nodes. So we just have one node here. We can drill down into that. Look at our memory or number of pods, all sorts of good stuff here. I don't know that there's anything worth pointing out here. But like I said, I am not a systems administrator, so I don't really know too much what I'm looking at here. I mainly just use the application console or the service catalog. Let's go ahead and create a new project and just call this Grant PHP. And let's go ahead and see what we got here with OpenShift Container Platform. Look at all the Java goodness we got. That's pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and deploy something here. Let's add this to Grant PHP, and we'll call this test PHP and a Git repository. Alright, let's find a Git repository real quick. I just want to verify that the install did finish correctly and the source to image and a few of the other projects that ships as part of OpenShift, like the SDN, is configured correctly. That's why I'm deploying a quick project here. So now if we go to the Grant PHP metrics, they may not be up yet. We'll see. Yep, they are up. Good. So now we should see metrics coming up as this build is happening here. We can see the build is happening. It's cloning the source code from that repository and putting it through the source to image process, which is going to create a container on the fly. So yeah, it looks like everything's up and running. Pretty happy with this install. Again, it is on bare metal. I normally do it inside of virtual machines, but I'll probably use this bare metal install for a while. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I did skip over some of the things that I expect you to know if you've watched some of my other videos, specifically the domain name, techdope.io. It may have appeared that just magically worked. Well, it did, but that's only because I own this domain name and I already pointed the DNS records to the IP address of this server at my house. That's why it's all working, but I assume people know how to do that. Alrighty, well, I'll see you kids later.